My friends, the great secret of life is not found in striving, nor in the restless attempt to control every detail of your destiny. The secret is in release, letting go, relaxing, and trusting the invisible order of the universe. To let go is not to abandon your desires. It is to embrace them so fully in your imagination that you need not force their fulfillment. The one who truly lets go is the one who knows within that all is already accomplished. What you hold tightly in fear slips away, but what you release in confidence flows back to you multiplied. Relaxation is not laziness, it is creation in its purest form. When the mind is still and the body at ease, you stand in harmony with the eternal. The universe does not hear your frantic demands. It responds to the quiet conviction of your inner state. In stillness, you align with the rhythm of life, and in that alignment, everything begins to unfold naturally. The world you see is but a mirror. It does not shape you. You shape it. As within, so without. If you live in fear, doubt, and resistance, the reflection will only confirm that. But if you rest in peace, trust, and expectancy, the mirror will faithfully reveal the abundance of your inner belief. Trust is the bridge. Between the seed of desire and the fruit of fulfillment lies the invisible process of growth. You cannot dig up the seed each day to check if it has sprouted. You water it with faith. You trust the unseen forces working on your behalf. To trust is to know the harvest is certain. Imagination is the womb of creation. Every picture you hold within you is a seed planted in the soil of consciousness. When you believe it to be real, when you dwell in it as though it were already true, the universe bends and shapes itself to bring it into form. So just let go, release the tension, relax in the awareness that life is for you, never against you. And above all, trust. Trust that what you have asked for, what you have dreamed of, what you have seen within already exists, waiting for you to align with it. Rest in the end. Live as though the desire were already fulfilled. Walk in the joy of its completion, and you will see the invisible become visible. Let go, relax, trust, and watch the universe unfold its wonders before you. Letting go is not losing, it is surrendering to a higher wisdom. Many people fear the idea of letting go because they associate it with weakness, failure, or giving up. They think that to release control is to lose something valuable, to risk the chance of never having their desire fulfilled. Yet true letting go is not about loss at all. It is about trust. It is the act of recognizing that there is a greater intelligence at work in your life, one that knows more than the restless mind could ever grasp. When you let go, you stop resisting. You stop forcing outcomes and allow yourself to align with a wisdom far greater than your limited perspective. Letting go does not mean abandoning your desires. It does not mean you no longer care or that you stop imagining what you wish to experience. Instead, it means you release the anxious grip of control. You no longer chase, worry, or beg for results. You hold your vision in faith and allow life to deliver it in its perfect time and perfect way. This is not passivity, it is active trust. It is knowing that when you set something in motion with your inner conviction, It is already complete in the unseen, and your only role is to align with that truth. Consider the difference between holding sand in a tight fist and holding it with an open palm. The tighter you squeeze, the more it slips away. But when you open your hand, the sand rests gently without effort. So it is with life. When you cling to fear, doubt, or the need to control, what you want seems to slip further from reach. But when you relax and surrender, it flows to you naturally without struggle. Surrender is not defeat, it is wisdom. It is understanding that the conscious mind does not always see the bigger picture, but the deeper intelligence of life does. When you insist on controlling every detail, you limit yourself to what your own reasoning can imagine. But when you let go, you invite infinite possibilities to work on your behalf. Often the outcome is far greater, far more beautiful than anything you could have forced into being. Letting go is also freedom. The weight of constant effort, of questioning and worrying lifts from your shoulders. You move with lightness because you know you are supported. Instead of living in tension, you live in flow. Opportunities appear without strain. Solutions arise without endless searching. What once seemed difficult begins to unfold with ease, because you have stepped aside and allowed higher wisdom to guide the way. To let go is to live in trust. It is to say, I have done my part, and now I allow life to do the rest. It is to walk with peace, knowing that what belongs to you cannot be lost. Far from being weakness, this is strength. Strength born not of force, but of faith. Letting go is not losing, it is stepping into alignment with the greater wisdom that has always been carrying you forward. Relaxation is the gateway to alignment with your true self. In the rush of daily life, where the mind is constantly racing with thoughts, responsibilities, and anxieties, many lose touch with the deeper essence of who they really are. Beneath the noise and activity lies a quiet, steady presence, the core of your being, the self untouched by circumstances. Yet to reach it, you must learn to be still. Relaxation is not simply about resting the body or taking a break. It is about releasing resistance, quieting the turbulence of thought, and allowing yourself to sink into the natural state of ease where truth is revealed. When you relax, you step away from the strain of control. Most people believe they must fight, push, and struggle to create the life they desire. But in reality, the struggle creates more struggle. The more you tense against life, the more rigid your experience becomes. Relaxation is the opposite. It is a conscious surrender, a gentle yielding, a way of saying, I trust that life is unfolding for me. In this state, your inner being rises to the surface, and what is real within you, peace, clarity, and wisdom, begins to guide your steps. Your true self does not shout, it whispers. It is not discovered in the clamor of worry, but in the calm of stillness. When you relax, you give yourself permission to listen. Suddenly, intuition speaks more clearly, ideas appear effortlessly, solutions come not through force, but through inspiration. Alignment with your true self is never about effort. It is about allowing, and allowing happens most naturally when you are at ease. Think of a stream of water. If you tense your hand and try to grasp it, the water slips away. But if you relax and cup your hand gently, it rests there without struggle. The same is true of your higher self. The more you tighten your grip through fear, control, or doubt, the more disconnected you feel. But the moment you let go, relax, and open, you find that the essence of who you are has always been flowing, steady and faithful, waiting for you to notice. Relaxation also restores you. It renews both body and mind, clearing away the fog of stress, so that your inner clarity can shine. In the quiet, you remember that you are more than your circumstances, more than your worries, more than the fleeting conditions of life. You are an eternal being, carrying within you infinite possibilities. To align with this truth, you need not strive. You only need to relax into it. So each time you feel overwhelmed, tense, or disconnected, remember that the key is not in doing more, but in doing less. Sit still, breathe deeply, release the weight from your shoulders. Allow your heart to soften. In this gentle practice, you will find that relaxation is not an escape from life. It is the doorway into your truest, most authentic self. And from this place of alignment, life begins to flow effortlessly in your favor. The universe mirrors the state of your inner world. Everything you encounter in life, your relationships, your opportunities, even the obstacles you face, are reflections of what is happening within you. Life is not a random series of events, nor is it something imposed upon you from the outside. It is instead the faithful echo of your thoughts, beliefs, and emotions. Just as a mirror reflects the face you present before it, the universe reflects the consciousness you hold within. When you carry fear, doubt, and limitation in your heart, life reflects back experiences that confirm those feelings. You may find yourself surrounded by lack, rejection, or disappointment. This is not because the universe is against you, but because it can only give you what you project. The outer world is shaped by the inner world. And until the inner is transformed, the outer cannot change. On the other hand, when you cultivate peace, confidence, and trust, life reorganizes itself to match that vibration. Opportunities appear, people show up to help you, and doors open where before there were only walls. The power lies in understanding that you are not a victim of circumstances, but the creator of them. Every belief you hold acts like a lens through which you perceive and shape your world. If you believe you are unworthy, life will reflect situations that confirm your unworthiness. But if you believe you are worthy of love, success, and abundance, the universe cannot help but reflect those very qualities back to you. The mirror never lies. It simply shows you who you are being. This is why inner work is the foundation of outer transformation. Trying to change circumstances without first changing the state of your mind and heart is like trying to adjust your reflection in the mirror without moving yourself. You can wipe the glass, adjust the lighting, or complain about the image, but until you shift the reality standing before it, nothing changes. When you align your inner state with the reality you desire, the world cannot resist. It must mirror that alignment. Think of times when you felt deeply joyful and grateful. Did not life itself seem brighter? Strangers smiled at you, opportunities came unexpectedly, and things seemed to fall into place. That was no coincidence. You were radiating joy, and the universe responded to your inner glow. Similarly, during times of stress and negativity, it often feels as though everything goes wrong. The truth is, the outer world is simply meeting you at the level of your inner vibration. The great gift of this truth is that you always have the power to change your experience by changing yourself. Shift your focus from fear to love, from doubt to trust, from lack to abundance, and you will watch the mirror of life adjust accordingly. Instead of fighting the reflection, nurture the source. Fill your inner world with faith, peace, and clarity, and the universe will faithfully reflect a reality that matches your inner light. Trust is the bridge between desire and manifestation. Every dream begins as an invisible seed planted in the soil of imagination. Desire is the spark, the vision of what could be. But desire alone cannot bring forth the harvest. There must be a bridge to carry it from the unseen into the seen, from thought into form, from wish into reality. That bridge is trust. Without trust, desire wavers, doubts grow, and the seed is uprooted before it can take root. But with trust, you allow the natural process of manifestation to unfold, and in due season, the invisible becomes visible. To trust is to rest in the certainty that what you have asked for is already yours. It does not mean you see it now with physical eyes, but that you hold it in the inner vision as accomplished. Just as a farmer does not dig up the ground each morning to check whether the seed has sprouted, so too must you resist the urge to doubt, question, or anxiously search for evidence. The farmer waters the soil, tends to it, and trusts in the unseen growth. Likewise, your role is to nurture your desire with faith, to live in its end, and to let go of the need to force its appearance. Many people destroy their own desires by refusing to cross the bridge of trust. They ask, but then they worry. They imagine, but then they contradict that imagination with fear. They declare, but then they look around and say, it's not here yet. This is like planting a seed and then stomping upon the soil in impatience. Trust requires surrender. A surrender not of your dream, but of your need to control the timing and the method of its arrival. Trust is powerful because it aligns you with the natural flow of the universe. It removes resistance. When you trust, you send out a clear, unwavering signal that you believe in the fulfillment of your desire. This signal draws circumstances, people, and opportunities that match your state of belief. Trust acts as a magnet, pulling the unseen into visibility. It bridges the gap not by effort, but by alignment. To trust is also to rest. Rest does not mean inaction, it means moving through life with calm assurance, knowing that what you seek is seeking you. The one who trusts no longer begs or chases, for they understand that the bridge is already built. Their only task is to walk across it in faith. Each thought of gratitude, each act of confidence, each moment spent imagining the desire fulfilled is a step across that bridge. As you step into consciousness, each moment spent imagining the desire fulfilled is a step across that bridge. When you embody trust, manifestation becomes inevitable. The path may be hidden at first, but it will unfold as you persist in faith. Just as a traveler walking through fog sees the road revealed step by step, so too will the way forward appear as you move in trust. Desire sets the destination, but trust is the road beneath your feet that carries you there. Regime, once again, Philippe Ayerguier, all creation rests upon this truth. What you trust in, you will see. Trust is the invisible bridge connecting your longing to its fulfillment, your dream to its reality. Step onto it with faith, and the journey is already complete. Imagination and faith create the unseen path forward. Every achievement, every discovery, every creation that has ever come into existence began first as a vision in the unseen realm of thought. Before the house was built, it was drawn in the mind of the architect. Before the journey was taken, it was pictured by the traveler. Before the invention was crafted, it was imagined by the dreamer. The unseen always precedes the seen, and imagination is the soil where the seeds of reality are planted. Yet imagination alone, without faith, is like a seed left untended. Faith is the force that nourishes sustains, and gives life to what imagination conceives. Together, they form the path that guides you toward the fulfillment of your desires. Imagination is not fantasy or idle daydreaming. It is the creative power of the mind shaping the possibilities of your future. When you dare to imagine yourself in a new state of being, healthier, wealthier, freer, or more fulfilled, you are giving form to the invisible. But for that form to take root, faith must step in. Faith is the conviction that what you have seen within is already true, though no evidence yet exists in the outer world. It is the inner knowing that makes the unseen as real to you as the ground beneath your feet. Without faith, imagination becomes fragile, collapsing at the first sign of doubt. But when faith supports it, the image within becomes unshakable. The outer world may seem to deny it, circumstances may appear contrary, yet faith holds steady. It says, "What I have imagined is already mine, and the path will unfold as I continue to walk in that vision." This inner stance creates movement, opening doors that once seemed closed, aligning you with opportunities you could never have planned. The path may be unseen, but step by step, faith reveals it. Think of walking through a dark forest with only a lantern. You cannot see the whole road, but you see enough to take the next step. That is how imagination and faith work together. Imagination sets the destination. Faith lights the way forward, even if only one step at a time. As you continue, more of the path appears, and what was once hidden becomes clear. Without imagination, you would have no direction. Without faith, you would not move. Together, they ensure progress toward the life you envision. Every great transformation begins with someone who dared to imagine differently and believed in that vision until it became reality. Your life is no different. The conditions around you today do not limit you. They are only reflections of yesterday's imagination and belief. If you want a different tomorrow, imagine it now and clothe it in faith. Live as though it were already yours, and the unseen path will form beneath your feet. Imagination is the blueprint. Faith is the builder. One conceives, the other completes. When both work in harmony, nothing is impossible. Hold fast to the vision. Nurture it with unwavering belief, and trust that even if the way is hidden, the universe is preparing each step. The unseen path forward is not made by force. It is revealed through the quiet union of imagination and faith. To live fulfilled, rest in the knowing that it is already done. Every desire of your heart, every dream you have conceived, exists already in the unseen realm. The moment you imagine it and accept it as true, it takes form within consciousness. From that point on, your task is not to struggle to make it happen, but to rest in the certainty that it is accomplished. This rest is not passive. It is the most powerful act of creation. It is the inner stance of one who no longer questions, no longer doubts, but lives in the end with peace and confidence. Fulfillment begins within. The world outside cannot give you the assurance you seek, for it is only a mirror of what you already hold inside. To live fulfilled, you must claim the state of fulfillment now, not wait for its outer evidence. If you are waiting, you are affirming its absence. But when you rest in the knowing that it is already done, you affirm its presence. And life has no choice but to reflect that truth. Consider how you feel when something you wanted has already been accomplished. Relief, joy, gratitude, and calm fill your heart. There is no struggle, no doubt, no desperation. That is the state you must enter even before the evidence appears. To dwell in the end is to embody that feeling now, to clothe yourself in the reality of the wish fulfilled. The outer world may not yet show it, but within you live as if it were undeniable fact. And soon the mirror of life aligns with your inner certainty. Perhaps the certainty, resting in the knowing, does not mean ignoring life. It means walking through it with quiet assurance. You no longer beg for answers or chase after signs. You no longer question whether it will happen or how it will come. You trust the process, knowing the seed has been planted and the harvest is guaranteed. Just as you do not doubt that the sun will rise tomorrow, so too must you carry that unshakable confidence in the reality of your desire. This rest brings freedom. The burden of striving falls away, and in its place comes lightness. You are no longer a seeker, but a receiver. No longer waiting, but embodying. No longer asking, but knowing. This state of inner completion draws all things toward you with effortless ease. Circumstances rearrange themselves, people appear at the right time, and paths open that you could not have planned. Why? Because the universe mirrors the certainty of your inner world. To live fulfilled is to live as though nothing is missing. It is to walk each day with the feeling that your desires are complete here and now. The more you dwell in this state, the quicker the outer world conforms. Fulfillment is not something you chase, it is something you claim. Rest in the knowing that it is already done, and you will discover that life itself bends to your faith, revealing in form what you have already accepted in spirit. In the end, life is not about forcing, striving, or clinging. It is about remembering who you are and aligning with the truth within. When you let go, when you relax, and when you trust, you return to the natural flow of creation. The universe has never been against you. It has always been responding to your inner state, faithfully reflecting the beliefs you hold, the visions you imagine, and the trust you embody. Your desires are not distant. They are already complete in the unseen. All that is required is for you to rest in the knowing that it is done, to live as though it were already so. When you walk in that state, peace replaces struggle, certainty replaces doubt, and fulfillment becomes your reality. So let go of resistance. Relax into your true self. Trust the process. Imagine boldly, believe deeply, and rest in the end. For in doing so, you will see the invisible become visible, and the life you once longed for will unfold before your very eyes. Thank you for sharing this moment of reflection. May you walk forward with calm assurance, unwavering trust, and the joy of knowing that everything you seek is already yours.
When you feel broken, you are not truly broken. What you experience is but a fleeting moment, a state of mind that has been accepted as your reality. But know this: your current feeling is nothing more than a transient condition. It is not who you are, and it is not who you will be. The feelings you experience in any given moment, no matter how intense or overwhelming, are not the final truth of who you are. They are transient states, passing conditions, shaped by your current perception of reality. To believe that the way you feel right now defines your life is to mistake a temporary state for your ultimate truth. What you feel is merely a reflection of the thoughts and assumptions you have accepted, and as your assumptions change, so will your feelings. Your emotions are the effects, not the causes. When you feel broken, lost, or overwhelmed, it is easy to believe that these feelings are your reality. You may look at your circumstances and think, This is how things are, this is who I am. But the truth is that the way you feel now is not an unchangeable fact. It is a reflection of the state of consciousness you currently occupy. And states of consciousness are fluid. They change as you change your focus and your belief. Feelings are powerful indicators of what you are accepting internally, but they are not permanent. They are momentary expressions of the state of mind you hold. The key to transforming your life is understanding that these feelings do not define your true essence. They are, in fact, the result of what you have assumed to be true about yourself and the world. If you believe that you are powerless or broken, your emotions will mirror that belief. But if you shift your inner dialogue, if you begin to assume that you are whole, complete and powerful, your feelings will change accordingly. You are the creator of your reality, and what you feel in any moment is a direct result of where you place your attention. If you dwell on thoughts of lack, limitation, or defeat, your emotions will follow suit. However, when you direct your attention to thoughts of abundance, peace, and possibility, your feelings will elevate. The world outside of you reflects what you consistently entertain in your inner world. If you remain focused on the idea that your current feelings are temporary, fleeting, and subject to change, you will unlock the power to rise above any emotional state that does not serve you. There is great power in understanding that what you feel right now is not permanent. It allows you to detach from the heaviness of the moment and recognize that you are not stuck. Feelings come and go like waves on the ocean, but you are the vast sea beneath them. The waves may be turbulent for a time, but they will eventually settle. And even when the surface seems stormy, the deeper waters remain calm and unaffected. So too is your true self beneath the temporary storm of emotions. There lies a deep, unshakable core of peace and power. By accepting that your feelings are transient, you reclaim control over your experience. You realize that you are not at the mercy of your emotions, but rather the master of them. When you consciously choose to focus on the truth of your wholeness, rather than the illusion of brokenness, you will begin to feel differently. This shift in feeling is not forced or artificial, it naturally arises from a change in perception. As you believe more deeply in your power to create, your emotions will align with this new belief, and your external world will transform in response. Your current feeling is not your reality, it is simply a reflection of where your attention has been. Shift your attention, and you will shift your feelings. And when you change your feelings, you change the world around you. You are not defined by your circumstances. What happens to you in life, whether it be hardship, success, or anything in between, is not the true measure of who you are. Circumstances are ever-changing, often beyond your control. But your essence, your identity, and your potential are far greater than the conditions you find yourself in at any given moment. To define yourself by your circumstances is to limit yourself to a narrow view of life, failing to see the limitless potential within you. Circumstances are merely a reflection of a state of consciousness, not the cause of it. They are temporary manifestations of your inner beliefs, thoughts, and assumptions. If you find yourself in challenging or painful circumstances, it does not mean you are destined to remain there. It simply means you have, at some level, accepted a state of being that is currently reflected in your external world. But just as circumstances are created by inner states, they can also be changed by shifting those states. One of the greatest misconceptions is that external events and conditions determine who you are. When people experience failure or setback, they often internalize these events, believing that they are failures themselves. They adopt the identity of their circumstances, forgetting that the external world is fluid and changeable. In truth, what happens in the outer world is neutral. It gains meaning only when you assign it one. You may experience difficulty, but that difficulty does not define you unless you allow it to. At any moment, you have the power to rise above your circumstances by changing your perception of yourself. Who you believe you are internally shapes the life you lead externally. The key is to detach your sense of self-worth from what is happening outside of you and anchor it instead in your innate power to create and transform. You are not a victim of circumstances unless you believe yourself to be. When you begin to see yourself as the creator of your reality, you understand that circumstances are malleable, they shift and change as your inner state does. The world may present obstacles, but those obstacles are not meant to define you, they are meant to test and reveal your strength. When you look at circumstances as opportunities for growth, rather than limiting factors, you reclaim your power. Even in the most difficult situations, you are still in control of how you respond. Your response shapes your future, and by maintaining a sense of inner certainty and conviction, you rise above the conditions of the moment. Circumstances are like clouds passing through the sky, they come and go, but they do not alter the vastness of the sky itself. In the same way, the events of your life may appear significant in the moment, but they do not define the entirety of who you are. You are the sky, the constant, the limitless potential, while circumstances are temporary phenomena that will eventually shift. By identifying with your true self, the self is beyond any external condition, you free yourself from the limitations imposed by the world. This understanding liberates you. It allows you to face life's challenges without fear, knowing that they do not dictate your ultimate destiny. You are not bound by the circumstances of the past, nor by those of the present. At any moment, you have the power to rise above them by assuming the state of being that you desire. When you stop letting circumstances define you and instead define yourself from within, the world begins to shift in response. Your true power lies not in the outer world, but in your inner state of consciousness. By changing that inner state, you change your circumstances. No matter what happens in the external world, you are always greater than the conditions that surround you. Recognize your true power, and you will see that you are the master of your circumstances, not the other way around. Is the gateway to transformation and healing, a powerful tool that allows you to transcend your current circumstances and move into a new state of being. What many fail to realize is that healing, whether emotional, mental, or even physical, begins not from external remedies or actions, but from within the mind. The process of healing is intimately tied to your ability to imagine yourself in a different state, to see and feel yourself as whole, healthy and complete. The power to heal is always within you, and imagination is the key that unlocks that power. When you are faced with pain, illness, or emotional distress, it is easy to become consumed by the immediate reality of the situation. Your senses tell you that you are suffering, and your logical mind reinforces this perception. But imagination allows you to move beyond what your senses are showing you. It enables you to picture yourself in a state of perfect health and well-being, even when the outer world suggests otherwise. By engaging your imagination in this way, you begin to shift your inner state, and as your inner state changes, your outer reality must follow. It is the precursor to all change. Before anything can manifest in the physical world, it must first be imagined. This is true of healing as well. When you imagine yourself as healed, you are aligning with a new state of being, one that is not defined by illness, pain, or suffering. This imagined state becomes a blueprint for your subconscious mind, which begins to work toward making this new reality a fact. Your body and your life respond to the images and feelings you consistently hold in your mind. Healing through imagination requires more than just wishful thinking. It requires a deep, sustained belief in the reality of what you are imagining. You must allow yourself to feel, as fully as possible, the emotions and sensations of being in a healed state. This means immersing yourself in the experience of being whole, allowing your mind to dwell on the peace, joy, and vitality that come with healing. As you do this, your body and mind begin to respond in kind, working together to bring about the state you are consistently imagining. The key to this process is persistence. In the face of illness or suffering, it can be difficult to maintain the feeling of being healed, especially when the evidence around you suggests otherwise. But imagination is not bound by the limitations of the present moment. It allows you to move beyond what is and enter into what can be. By persistently imagining yourself as healed, by returning again and again to the state of wholeness in your mind, you begin to create a new reality for yourself. The power of imagination in healing extends beyond the individual mind. It taps into a universal principle, the idea that consciousness shapes reality. When you imagine yourself in a new state, you are not just passively hoping for change, you are actively creating it. The thoughts and images you hold in your mind send out vibrations that affect both your body and the world around you. The energy of your focused imagination begins to attract circumstances, people, and events that support your healing. Imagination transcends the limits of the physical world. It allows you to access a higher realm of possibilities, where healing is not only possible but inevitable. By engaging your imagination, you bypass the obstacles of the present moment and align yourself with a future reality where you are whole and complete. This is the true power of imagination. It not only envisions a different future, but brings that future into the present. Healing is a matter of shifting consciousness. The body, mind, and soul are interconnected, and as you imagine yourself into a state of health, your entire being responds. The key to unlocking this healing is imagination, the ability to see beyond the present condition and to consistently dwell in the reality of the desired state. Through imagination, you hold the power to heal yourself and transform your life. The past, while seemingly fixed and unchangeable, holds far more fluidity than most people realize. Though the events themselves may be over, their influence on your present reality is determined not by what happened, but by how you perceive and remember them. The past lives on in your mind, shaping your beliefs, your assumptions, and your sense of self. By revising your memory of past events, you can alter the impact they have on your present and future. This process of revision is not about denial or escape, but about consciously choosing a new narrative, one that aligns with the life you wish to experience. Every event in your life has been interpreted by your mind, and the meaning you gave it continues to shape your reality. If you've carried memories of failure, disappointment, or trauma, these memories influence how you feel about yourself today. They may lead you to assume that you are destined for more of the same, that the patterns of the past must inevitably repeat in your future. But this is a misunderstanding of how reality works. The past only has power over you if you continue to give it that power through your beliefs and assumptions. Revision is a powerful tool that allows you to reshape your relationship with the past. By revisiting painful or limiting memories and imagining them differently, you effectively alter their influence on your present. The subconscious mind cannot distinguish between an event that happened and an event that is vividly imagined. Therefore, when you revise a past experience, replacing it with a new, empowering version, your subconscious mind accepts this new memory as reality. The emotions and beliefs tied to the original memory dissolve, and you are freed from the limitations they imposed on your life. The key to revision is feeling. You must enter into the revised memory as though it were real, allowing yourself to feel the emotions of the new, imagined event. Suppose you experienced a failure that has haunted you for years. In revision, you would mentally return to that moment and change the outcome. Instead of failure, imagine success. Instead of disappointment, imagine the feeling of triumph and fulfillment. As you do this, immerse yourself fully in the new scene, feeling the emotions as deeply as possible. In this way, the new memory begins to overwrite the old one. The effect of revision is transformative. By changing how you perceive the past, you change your present state of consciousness. The beliefs that once held you back lose their grip, and you begin to operate from a higher, more empowered state of being. The outer world, which always reflects your inner state, will shift to mirror this new consciousness. Circumstances that seem to repeat old patterns of failure or pain will begin to change, aligning with the new reality you have assumed through revision. This process works because time is not linear in the way we often think it is. The past, present, and future are interconnected, all existing in the eternal now. When you revise the past, you are not changing an external sequence of events, but altering the way those events live within you. And because your inner world creates your outer experience, this internal shift brings about real change in your current life. Revision is a practice of liberation. It frees you from the emotional and mental chains of past experiences and allows you to step into the present with a sense of empowerment and possibility. You are no longer bound by what has been but are open to what can be. By shaping your perception of the past, you shape your present and open the door to a future of your own creation. In this way, you reclaim your power as the creator of your reality, transcending the limitations of time and circumstance. Persistence in your assumption is the key to transforming your reality. Your outer world is a reflection of your inner beliefs, and those beliefs are formed and reinforced by the assumptions you consistently hold. An assumption in this context is not just a fleeting thought or wish, but a deeply held conviction that something is true, even if your current circumstances suggest otherwise. When you persistently assume a new reality, whether it's greater health, abundance, love, or success, that assumption, when firmly held, will eventually harden into fact. The power of assumption lies in its ability to bypass the current limitations of your senses. Your senses may show you lack, failure, or struggle, but these external conditions are the result of past assumptions. If you continue to react to the world based on what you see, you will only perpetuate the same reality. But if you choose to assume something different, regardless of what the outer world is currently showing, you begin to shift your inner state. And as your inner state changes, so too must the outer conditions of your life. This process requires persistence, because the physical world often takes time to catch up with your new assumptions. When you first adopt a new belief, your external reality may not immediately reflect it. This is where many people falter. They assume something new for a brief time, but when they don't see immediate evidence of change, they revert to their old ways of thinking. They abandon their new assumption, and in doing so, they allow the old patterns to continue. The key to success is to persist in the new assumption, no matter how much the outer world resists or seems unchanged. Persistence does not mean effort or struggle. It simply means holding firm to your new assumption, refusing to be swayed by appearances. You must live in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, acting as though what you desire is already yours. This requires discipline, as the temptation to fall back into old patterns of thought can be strong. But with persistence, the new assumption becomes a natural part of your consciousness. It starts to feel normal and true, even before any external evidence appears. As you persist, the new assumption begins to take root in your subconscious mind. The subconscious mind governs much of your life experience, and it operates based on the beliefs you impress upon it. When a new assumption is consistently held, the subconscious accepts it as reality, and from there it starts to manifest in your external world. This is why persistence is so critical. The subconscious cannot distinguish between what is real and what is imagined. It only responds to what you repeatedly assume to be true. Over time, as you persist in your new assumption, the outer world will begin to shift. Circumstances will rearrange themselves to align with your inner state. People, events, and opportunities will appear that support the reality you have assumed. It may not happen overnight, but with persistence, the change becomes inevitable. This is the law of assumption in action. What you consistently believe and feel will eventually materialize in your physical world. The beauty of this process is that it puts the power back in your hands. You are no longer at the mercy of circumstances, waiting for the world to change so that you can feel better or achieve your desires. Instead, you realize that by changing your assumptions, you change everything. Persistence in this practice allows you to transcend the limitations of your current reality and create a life that reflects your deepest desires. By holding firm to your new assumption and refusing to be discouraged by appearances, you set the stage for profound transformation. The world may not change immediately, but if you persist, it will. Your assumptions are the seeds of your future, and with persistence, they will grow into the reality you wish to experience. You are always in control of your experience, regardless of the circumstances that unfold around you. This control is not about manipulating external events or forcing situations to conform to your desires. Rather, it is about the power you possess over your thoughts, beliefs, and perceptions. Your experience of life is shaped by your internal state, and you hold the reins of that internal state at all times. By recognizing this truth, you empower yourself to navigate life's challenges with confidence and intention. The world often presents a myriad of situations that may seem beyond your control: difficult relationships, financial struggles, health issues, and unexpected setbacks. In the face of such challenges, it's easy to feel like a victim of circumstances, believing that external factors dictate how you feel and respond. However, this perspective overlooks the fundamental truth that your reactions, beliefs, and interpretations of these situations are entirely within your control. It is your thoughts about what is happening, rather than the events themselves, that define your experience. The key to exercising control over your experience lies in understanding that your thoughts create your reality. Every moment, you have the opportunity to choose how you interpret what is happening around you. For instance, two people may experience the same event, but their responses can be drastically different based on their individual perspectives. One person may see a setback as a failure, while another may view it as an opportunity for growth. The difference lies in their internal dialogue and the assumptions they hold about themselves and the world. By consciously choosing your thoughts and interpretations, you can shift your experience from one of limitation to one of empowerment. To take control of your experience, you must first become aware of your thoughts and beliefs. This awareness allows you to identify negative or limiting patterns that may be holding you back. Once you recognize these patterns, you can begin to challenge and replace them with more empowering beliefs. For example, if you find yourself thinking, "I'll never be successful," you can consciously shift that thought to, "I am capable of achieving my goals, and I am constantly learning and growing." This shift in thought not only changes how you feel in the moment, but also alters the trajectory of your life. Maintaining control over your experience requires mindfulness and emotional regulation. Life will inevitably present challenges that trigger strong emotions: fear, anger, frustration, or sadness. It's essential to acknowledge these emotions without allowing them to dictate your actions or beliefs. You have the power to pause, breathe, and choose how to respond to these feelings. Instead of reacting impulsively, take a moment to reflect on what you want to achieve and how you can best navigate the situation. By doing so, you assert control over your emotional landscape, allowing you to respond with intention rather than reactivity. Another critical aspect of this control is the practice of visualization and positive affirmation. Imagining the outcomes you desire and affirming your ability to achieve them helps to reinforce a sense of control. Visualization allows you to see yourself succeeding, overcoming obstacles, and living the life you wish to create. These mental images not only inspire hope, but also train your subconscious mind to align with your desired reality. When you persistently visualize your goals and affirm your capabilities, you program your mind to seek opportunities and solutions that support your vision. Recognizing that you are always in control of your experience is a profound realization that shifts your relationship with life. You become the creator of your reality, empowered to shape your experiences through your thoughts, beliefs, and responses. No matter what challenges arise, you can approach them with a mindset that asserts your agency. This understanding not only enhances your resilience, but also fosters a sense of peace and confidence in navigating the uncertainties of life. By taking control of your internal landscape, you open the door to a richer, more fulfilling experience, one that aligns with your true desires and potential. In conclusion, the journey of self-discovery and transformation begins with the profound understanding that you hold the power to shape your own reality. By recognizing that your imagination, assumptions, and thoughts play a crucial role in defining your experiences, you can break free from the limitations imposed by past circumstances and external situations. Embracing persistence in your assumptions allows you to create a new narrative for your life, one that reflects your true desires and aspirations. Remember that you are always in control of your experience, and by harnessing this control, you can navigate life's challenges with confidence and grace. Thank you for taking the time to engage with these ideas. May you continue to empower yourself and create a life that aligns with your highest potential. This is why you must stop wasting your time chasing things outside of yourself, thinking that they will bring you fulfillment. Every time you do so, you are abandoning your power. When you focus your energy on external circumstances, you give away the one thing that can truly change your life, your inner awareness. By turning inward, by becoming deeply conscious of your thoughts, feelings, and assumptions, you reclaim this power. You begin to understand that nothing outside of you has the power to control your life unless you give it that power. The key to creating the life you desire lies in this understanding: you are the creator of your experience. No one and nothing outside of you can dictate your life unless you allow it. The power to shape your reality is entirely in your hands, or more precisely, in your mind. Every time you focus your attention inward, every time you choose to be aware of your thoughts and to align them with the vision of the life you desire, you are taking a step toward true mastery. This is the power of inner awareness. It is the realization that everything you need is already within you, waiting to be acknowledged and brought into the light of your consciousness. In this inner realm, there are no limits. The only limits that exist are those you impose upon yourself through doubt, fear, or a misunderstanding of your own power. When you let go of these limitations and focus on the infinite potential within, you will find that the world around you transforms. It must, for it is merely the shadow cast by the light of your inner awareness. The more you nurture this awareness, the more your outer reality will reflect the abundance, peace, and joy that already reside within you. Your consciousness is the foundation of everything you experience in life. What you perceive as reality is not something independent of you, standing outside of your awareness. It is, in fact, a projection of your inner state, your thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions. The world you encounter is molded by the nature of your consciousness, which acts as a lens through which reality is filtered and understood. Therefore, if you wish to change your life, it is not the external circumstances you must alter, but the state of consciousness from which those circumstances arise. Most people live under the illusion that the world exists separately from them, that events unfold independently, and that they are at the mercy of external forces. They believe that life happens to them, not through them. This belief keeps them stuck in a cycle of reacting to the world, rather than shaping it. But the truth is, your consciousness precedes every event, every encounter, and every experience. It is the cause, and the world is the effect. When you grasp this, you begin to see that you are far more powerful than you may have realized. Your consciousness shapes your reality, and nothing exists in your life without first existing in your mind. The process is simple. What you consistently focus on, believe in, and assume to be true, eventually manifests in your physical experience. If you constantly dwell on lack, fear, or limitation, those thoughts will be reflected back to you in the form of challenging or restrictive circumstances. Your world will seem full of barriers, and you will encounter situations that reinforce your beliefs. On the other hand, if you focus on abundance, peace, and possibility, these qualities will be mirrored in the world around you. Life will seem full of opportunities, and you will attract experiences that support your sense of well-being. This is not to suggest that everything in life is easy or without struggle. However, your perception of those struggles and the meaning you assign to them arises from your consciousness. A person who sees the world as a place of growth and potential will approach challenges as opportunities to learn and evolve. Someone who views the world through the lens of fear or scarcity will see the same challenges as insurmountable obstacles. The events may be the same, but the experience of them differs entirely because it is shaped by the individual's consciousness. This truth can be both empowering and daunting. It means that you are never a victim of your circumstances, but it also means that you are always responsible for your experience. It calls for self-awareness and a deliberate choice to direct your thoughts and beliefs toward what you want to experience. When you realize that your consciousness is the creative force behind your life, you understand that you have the power to shift your reality by shifting your inner world. This is the essence of mastery, not controlling the external world, but controlling your inner state so that the outer world naturally aligns with it. The more consistently you maintain a consciousness of abundance, love, and fulfillment, the more these qualities will appear in your life. It may not happen instantly, but over time, as your consciousness becomes more aligned with what you desire, reality will follow suit. In this way, your consciousness is like a magnet. It draws to you experiences that match its vibration. If you focus on lack, you will attract lack. If you focus on abundance, abundance will find its way to you. This is not a matter of wishful thinking or mere optimism. It is the natural law by which reality operates. Your consciousness shapes your reality in every moment, whether you are aware of it or not. Therefore, to change your life, begin by changing the way you think, feel, and believe about the world and about yourself. Reality will follow. One of the greatest traps that many fall into is the need for external approval. From a young age, we are conditioned to seek validation from others, whether it be from parents, teachers, friends, or society at large. We are taught to believe that our worth is determined by how others perceive us, and we begin to measure our success, happiness, and sense of self based on external standards. But this pursuit of approval is a never-ending cycle that leads to emptiness and frustration, for the validation we seek from others is fleeting and ultimately unfulfilling. When you seek approval from the outside world, you are giving away your power. You are allowing others to dictate how you feel about yourself, and in doing so, you lose sight of your own inherent worth. No matter how much approval or praise you receive, it is never enough, because the void you are trying to fill cannot be filled by external sources. The opinions of others are constantly shifting, and what is valued by society today may be discarded tomorrow. If you base your sense of self on such unstable foundations, you will forever be chasing something that is beyond your control. To let go of the need for external approval is to reclaim your power. It is to understand that your worth does not come from outside of you but from within. You are already whole and complete, just as you are, and no amount of praise or criticism can change that. The more you rely on external validation, the more you disconnect from your true self. But when you turn inward and align with your own values, desires, and sense of purpose, you no longer need the approval of others to feel worthy. This does not mean that you should ignore feedback or refuse to consider the perspectives of others. However, it does mean that you must prioritize your inner voice above all else. The opinions of others can serve as guidance, but they should not dictate your self-worth or determine the direction of your life. When you let go of the need for approval, you become free to live authentically, without fear of judgment or rejection. You begin to make decisions based on what feels right for you, rather than what will please others or conform to societal expectations. Living for the approval of others is a form of self-betrayal. It means that you are placing more value on the opinions of others than on your own inner knowing. But the truth is, no one else can know what is best for you. Only you can determine your path, and only you can define your worth. When you stop seeking approval from others, you begin to trust yourself more. You learn to listen to your intuition and follow your own inner guidance, and this is where true freedom lies. Letting go of external approval also frees you from the fear of criticism. When you are no longer dependent on the opinions of others, criticism loses power over you. You no longer feel the need to defend yourself or prove your worth, because you know that your value is not contingent upon the approval or disapproval of others. Instead, you can take criticism in stride, using it as an opportunity for growth if it resonates with you, or simply letting it go if it does not. The need for external approval is rooted in a lack of self-acceptance. When you fully accept yourself with all your strengths and weaknesses, you no longer seek validation from others. You understand that your worth is inherent, and that nothing outside of you can add to or diminish it. This self-acceptance allows you to live authentically, to pursue your dreams without fear, and to experience true freedom. Let go of the need for approval, and you will discover the limitless power that comes from being true to yourself. The power of thought is immense, yet often underestimated. Every thought you think is a form of energy, carrying its own unique vibration that radiates outward and shapes your reality. Whether you realize it or not, your thoughts are constantly influencing the direction of your life. What you focus on you bring into your experience. This is why it's often said that energy follows thought. Wherever your thoughts go, your energy flows, and whatever you consistently think about will eventually manifest in some form. Many people are unaware of how their habitual thinking patterns are shaping their lives. They may feel powerless, believing that life just happens to them. However, this is far from the truth. In every moment you are creating your reality through your thoughts. When you dwell on negative thoughts, such as fear, doubt, or lack, you are directing your energy toward those things. As a result, you attract more of the same into your life, more situations that confirm your fears, more experiences that reflect your sense of lack, and more challenges that mirror your inner doubts. When you focus on positive thoughts, thoughts of abundance, love, and possibility, you channel your energy in a direction that supports your growth and fulfillment. You begin to see opportunities where there were once obstacles, and life seems to flow with greater ease and harmony. This is not magic, it is simply the natural law of the universe. Your thoughts set the tone for your reality, and the energy you invest in them determines what you experience. The key to harnessing this power lies in becoming aware of your thoughts. Most people go through life on autopilot, reacting to circumstances and allowing their thoughts to run unchecked. But if you want to change your life, you must first change your thinking. This requires conscious effort and self-discipline. You must begin to monitor your thoughts, catching yourself when you slip into negative or limiting patterns. Once you become aware of these thoughts, you can choose to redirect your focus toward thoughts that align with the life you want to create. This is not to say that you should ignore reality or pretend that everything is perfect when it's not. Rather, it's about understanding that your thoughts are the seeds of your future experience. By consciously choosing to focus on what you want, rather than what you fear or lack, you are planting seeds that will eventually grow into the life you desire. This process takes time and patience, but it is inevitable. The energy you invest in your thoughts will eventually manifest in your reality. It's also important to understand that energy follows thought, not just in terms of individual outcomes, but in the overall quality of your life. If you consistently focus on thoughts of peace, love, and gratitude, you will cultivate a life that reflects those qualities. Your energy will become more harmonious, and you will attract experiences and people that resonate with that vibration. On the other hand, if you are constantly worrying, doubting, or fearing the worst, your energy will reflect that negativity, and you will draw more of the same into your life. The power of thought is a creative force. It is through your thoughts that you shape your reality, for better or worse. The more you can discipline your mind to focus on what you want, rather than what you fear or dislike, the more you will find that life begins to shift in your favor. Your energy will flow in the direction of your dominant thoughts, and your external world will adjust to reflect your inner state. The law of assumption is one of the most powerful principles governing your reality. It states that whatever you assume to be true, whether consciously or unconsciously, will manifest in your life. Your assumptions, which are deeply rooted beliefs about yourself and the world, shape your experiences. They are like seeds planted in the fertile soil of your mind, and as you nurture them through thought and feeling, they eventually blossom into the reality you live. The life you experience today is the direct result of the assumptions you've held about yourself and your circumstances. At its core, the law of assumption is about belief and identity. It requires you to adopt a new way of thinking, where you assume the feeling of your desires already being fulfilled. This is not about wishful thinking or mere hope. It is about living from the state of already having what you want. When you assume that something is true, your mind accepts it as fact, and reality begins to shift to reflect that assumption. Your external world is always a mirror of your inner beliefs. If you assume yourself to be abundant, loved, or successful, your world will mold itself to confirm these assumptions. The law works both ways. If you assume yourself to be lacking, unworthy, or powerless, those assumptions will also manifest. The key is to recognize that your assumptions are choices, not fixed realities. Too often, people assume negative things about themselves and their circumstances without realizing the impact these thoughts have. They believe they are victims of external conditions, but in truth, They are simply reinforcing negative beliefs through their assumptions. Once you understand that you have the power to choose your assumptions, you can begin to reshape your life. To apply the law of assumption, you must embody the state of your desired outcome. You don't merely wish for it, you live as though it is already yours. If you desire success, you must assume the role of a successful person. How would you think, feel, and act if you already had the success you seek? You begin to identify with that version of yourself. This shift in consciousness is what creates the pathway for the desired outcome to manifest. When you truly believe something to be true, your actions, thoughts, and emotions naturally align with that belief, and reality follows suit. The process is deceptively simple but requires practice and persistence. The mind is often conditioned by past experiences, making it difficult to adopt new assumptions without effort. However, by repeatedly affirming your desired assumptions and embodying the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you can reprogram your mind to accept a new reality. This is not about forcing change in the external world, it is about internal transformation. The outer world is merely a reflection of your inner state, and when you change your assumptions, the outer world must change to match. What makes the law of assumption so empowering is that it places you in control of your destiny. You are not bound by your past, nor are you limited by current circumstances. Everything begins in your mind, and by changing the assumptions you hold, you change your life. The world, as you experience it, is the result of the assumptions you accept as true. If you desire a different life, you must first assume that different life is already existing within you. The law of assumption is a call to act as if. Act as if you are already the person you want to be. Assume the feelings, thoughts, and behaviors of that version of yourself, and reality will adjust. The power lies in your ability to consistently hold these assumptions, even in the face of current circumstances that seem to contradict them. As you persist in your assumptions, reality will eventually conform. Your life is nothing more than a reflection of what you believe to be true, and through the law of assumption, you can shape that belief into whatever you desire. Self-mastery is the key to true freedom. It is the art of gaining control over your thoughts, emotions, and actions so that you are no longer swayed by external circumstances or fleeting desires. When you achieve self-mastery, you unlock the power to shape your life according to your highest vision, rather than being at the mercy of your surroundings. True freedom does not come from the absence of challenges or difficulties, but from the ability to navigate them with clarity, calm, and confidence, knowing that your inner state is not dictated by the external world. At the heart of self-mastery is self-awareness. You must first become deeply conscious of your thoughts and behaviors, understanding how they shape your reality. Many people live their lives reacting to situations, unaware of the patterns that guide their actions. They become trapped in cycles of frustration, repeating the same mistakes and feeling powerless to change their circumstances. But self-mastery breaks this cycle by putting you in the driver's seat of your own mind. It requires you to observe your thoughts and habits without judgment, to recognize the impulses that lead you astray, and to consciously choose actions that align with your deeper values and desires. This level of awareness enables you to transcend the automatic responses that often control your life. Instead of reacting out of fear, anger, or insecurity, you learn to respond from a place of wisdom and inner peace. You become less influenced by the opinions and judgments of others, as your sense of self is no longer dependent on external validation. This is a crucial aspect of freedom, being free from the need for approval, free from the need to conform to others' expectations. When you master yourself, you discover that the only approval you truly need is your own. Self-mastery also involves discipline, the ability to choose long-term fulfillment over short-term gratification. It is the capacity to delay immediate desires in favor of your larger goals and higher purpose. This doesn't mean denying yourself pleasure or joy, but rather being mindful of what truly serves your well-being. With self-discipline, you no longer fall victim to distractions or temptations that lead you off course. You learn to focus your energy on what truly matters, aligning your daily actions with the life you wish to create. This disciplined focus brings a deep sense of freedom, as you are no longer pulled in multiple directions by conflicting desires. One of the greatest rewards of self-mastery is emotional freedom. When you control your emotions, they no longer control you. This doesn't mean suppressing your feelings, but rather understanding and managing them. You become aware of the triggers that ignite anger, fear, or frustration and develop the ability to respond calmly and constructively. This emotional intelligence allows you to move through life with greater ease and grace, no longer reactive to the ups and downs of external events. The peace that comes from mastering your emotions is one of the highest forms of freedom. Self-mastery is about living with intention. Instead of being a passive participant in your own life, you take full responsibility for your thoughts, emotions, and actions. You understand that everything you experience is a reflection of your inner state, and by mastering yourself, you gain the ability to shape your reality. This is true freedom, the freedom to create a life that aligns with your deepest values and desires, the freedom to be at peace, regardless of external circumstances, and the freedom to live authentically, without fear or doubt. In mastering yourself, you discover that freedom was never something to be attained from the outside. It was always within you, waiting to be realized. Self-mastery is the path to uncovering this inner freedom, enabling you to live a life of purpose, fulfillment, and true liberation. In conclusion, the journey to true freedom begins with self-mastery. By gaining control over your thoughts, emotions, and actions, you empower yourself to live with purpose and authenticity. Self-mastery frees you from the need for external validation, emotional reactivity, and the distractions that pull you off course. It allows you to navigate life with clarity and inner peace, knowing that your reality is shaped by your inner state. This path of self-awareness, discipline, and emotional intelligence leads to a life of fulfillment and true liberation. Imagine a seed buried deep within the earth. It knows that the light above awaits it. But before it can reach the surface, it must break through the layers of doubt, fear, and disbelief. You too have that seed within you, the seed of unshakable confidence. Yet, there are mistakes that silently kill that confidence before it ever blossoms. There is a fundamental truth that many overlook in their journey toward fulfillment. You are not separate from what you desire. This understanding is the key to unlocking a life of abundance, joy, and effortless manifestation. You see, everything you long for, whether it be success, love, wealth, or peace, already exists within you. The separation you feel is an illusion created by your own mind, a mental construct that veils the unity between you and the object of your desire. So, you are a creator. Every thought, every emotion, every belief that you hold shapes your reality. Your outer world is but a reflection of your inner state. When you desire something, it is not outside of you, waiting to be obtained through effort or struggle. It is a part of you, calling to be realized and brought into your awareness. The more you perceive your desires as distant, the more you affirm their separation from you. And this perceived gap between where you are and where you want to be becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. What many fail to understand is that desire itself is a divine gift. It is not something to be suppressed or feared, nor is it a reminder of lack. Desire is a signal, a reminder that the life you seek is already within your reach. In fact, the moment you conceive of a desire, the possibility of its realization is born within you. There is no need to strive or beg for it. Instead, you must align yourself with the truth that it is already yours. This alignment comes from a shift in awareness. When you see yourself as separate from your desires, you operate from a mindset of scarcity, of lack. You believe that you must work harder, be more, or do more to attain what you want. But this only perpetuates the illusion of separation. The secret is to change the way you see yourself. You must identify with the version of you that already has what you seek. The moment you believe that you are already the person who possesses the desire, the external world will reflect that truth. This process is not about forcing the world to give you what you want. It is about recognizing that the outer world is a mirror of your inner state. When you shift internally, the external must follow. If you desire wealth, for example, you must first cultivate a mindset of abundance. You must feel, think, and act as though you are already wealthy. The same applies to love, success, or any other aspiration. You cannot wait for the outside world to change before you feel worthy or confident. You must embody those feelings now. Trust is key. Trust that your desires are not random or unreachable. They are divine impulses guiding you toward the life you are meant to live. When you trust that what you desire is already yours, you release the need to chase or struggle. You move with ease, knowing that life is working in your favor. You become magnetic to your desires, drawing them into your experience effortlessly. You and your desires are one. The separation you feel is an illusion, and the moment you dissolve that illusion, you will realize that everything you have ever wanted is already within you. All that is required is your belief, your knowing, and your willingness to claim it. Many people live their lives from the outside in, constantly reacting to the circumstances and opinions around them. They allow external events to dictate their emotions, thoughts, and sense of self-worth. This way of living keeps them in a state of dependency on the outer world, forever chasing validation, approval, or material success. It is a fragile existence, where one's happiness and confidence are contingent upon conditions beyond their control. But this approach overlooks a deeper truth: your external world is merely a reflection of your inner state. When you live from the outside in, you become a prisoner of circumstances. You believe that your life is shaped by the actions and opinions of others, by the randomness of events, or by what society deems valuable. If things go well, you feel uplifted. If they don't, you feel diminished. This creates a roller coaster of emotions, leaving you powerless, as though life is happening to you rather than through you. Your self-worth rises and falls with the approval of others, and your happiness seems to depend on fleeting external factors like success, wealth, or relationships. The problem with this approach is that the outer world is unpredictable and impermanent. Things change, people change, circumstances change, and when they do, your sense of security and identity may crumble if it is built on these shifting foundations. You find yourself constantly trying to control things outside of yourself, hoping that by manipulating the world around you, you will find peace, love, or satisfaction. But control is an illusion, and the more you try to grip onto the external, the more elusive inner peace becomes. True power and fulfillment come from living from the inside out. This means grounding yourself in your inner world, your thoughts, beliefs, and feelings, rather than allowing external events to dictate your state of being. You are the creator of your experience, not a victim of circumstances. When you understand this, you shift from a reactive state to a proactive one, where you consciously shape your reality through your inner state. Instead of waiting for the world to make you feel happy, secure, or loved, you generate those feelings within yourself. You decide to feel abundant before the money arrives, to feel loved before the relationship appears, to feel confident before the external validation comes. When you live from the inside out, your inner state is no longer dependent on external conditions. You cultivate an unshakable sense of self-worth, grounded in the knowledge that you are already enough, that everything you need is within you. This shift in perspective transforms your relationship with the world. When you stop seeking validation from others, you find freedom in being yourself. When you no longer rely on external success to feel fulfilled, you are free to pursue your passions without fear of failure. And when you understand that you are the source of your own happiness, no external event can take it away from you. Living from the inside out requires a deep trust in yourself and in the process of life. It means recognizing that you are not at the mercy of circumstances, but rather that you are the creator of them. Your thoughts, beliefs, and emotions shape your reality. When you align your inner state with the truth of your power and worth, the external world will inevitably reflect that back to you. By living from the inside out, you reclaim your power. You realize that everything you seek externally, love, success, happiness, already exists within you. The outer world becomes a mirror, reflecting the reality that you create from within. Instead of being reactive to life's events, you become the conscious architect of your experience, living with intention, purpose, and unshakable confidence. Fear of failure is one of the most powerful forces that can hold you back in life. It whispers doubts in your ear, urging you to stay within the confines of what feels safe and familiar. This fear convinces you that making mistakes or experiencing setbacks is a reflection of your inadequacy, leading you to avoid risks and opportunities that could bring immense growth. But in reality, failure is not something to be feared. It is a natural and essential part of the journey toward success and self-realization. When you allow fear of failure to control you, you hand over the keys to your own potential and remain trapped in a limited version of yourself. The fear of failure stems from a misunderstanding of what failure truly is. Society often equates failure with defeat or lack of worth, creating a stigma that paralyzes people from even attempting to pursue their dreams. But failure is not a dead end, it is a stepping stone. Every failure contains within it the seeds of wisdom, growth, and the opportunity to realign with your true path. Without failure, there would be no learning, no refinement of skills, and no deepening of understanding. Those who succeed have not avoided failure, they have embraced it, learned from it, and used it as fuel to propel themselves forward. The true danger is not in failing, but in allowing the fear of failure to prevent you from trying at all. When you are afraid of failing, you become stagnant. You shrink your world to what is comfortable and known, avoiding the discomfort of uncertainty. In doing so, you miss out on the experiences that would expand your abilities, deepen your wisdom, and lead you to higher levels of achievement. Fear of failure is a prison that keeps you from exploring the vastness of your own potential. The more you try to avoid failure, the more you limit yourself to a life of mediocrity. You might avoid immediate discomfort, but you also block the opportunities for growth and success. Each time you give in to the fear, you reinforce a belief in your limitations, convincing yourself that you are not capable of achieving more. But the truth is, every time you face failure head-on, you grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. The only way to break free from the grip of fear is to shift your perspective. Failure is not a reflection of your worth, but rather an indication that you are stepping out of your comfort zone and expanding into new territory. Every failure brings you closer to your desired outcome because it provides valuable feedback, showing you what works and what doesn't. It is not a sign of weakness, it is a sign of courage and progress. The real failure lies in never trying, in allowing your fear to dictate your actions and keep you small. When you reframe failure as a necessary part of success, you unlock a new level of freedom. You begin to take risks, try new things, and embrace the unknown with confidence. You understand that setbacks are temporary and that each misstep is a valuable lesson on the path to mastery. Over time, your fear of failure diminishes because you realize that it is not something to be avoided but something to be welcomed as part of the process of becoming your highest self. It is not failure that holds you back, it is the fear of it. Release that fear and you will discover that there are no limits to what you can achieve. Every failure is an opportunity in disguise, waiting to guide you closer to your true potential. Your own worth is one of the most destructive habits you can fall into, as it directly undermines your ability to create the life you desire. When you question your value, you limit your potential and block the flow of abundance, love, and success that is naturally available to you. You may start to believe that you're not worthy of the good things in life, whether it's a fulfilling career, healthy relationships, or inner peace. But the truth is, your worth is inherent. It is not something that can be diminished by external circumstances, failures, or the opinions of others. To doubt your worth is to forget the fundamental truth of who you are, a powerful creator, capable of shaping your reality. Many people tie their sense of worth to their achievements, possessions, or the approval of others. They believe that only when they have reached a certain level of success or have received enough praise will they be deserving of happiness and fulfillment. This conditional view of self-worth is a trap. It leads to a constant search for external validation, and when that validation doesn't come, or when life doesn't go according to plan, self-doubt creeps in. The result is a cycle of feeling unworthy, which blocks you from pursuing your dreams or accepting opportunities that come your way. This doubt dims your inner light and keeps you from fully expressing your talents and gifts. Doubting your own worth also has a way of sabotaging your actions. When you believe that you are not enough, you hesitate to take risks or put yourself out there. You may find yourself settling for less than what you truly desire, whether it's in your career, relationships, or personal growth. Instead of going after what you really want, you shrink your goals to match what you think you deserve. This creates a limited life, far below your true potential. The universe responds to your belief in your worth. If you believe you are worthy of little, you will receive little. It is essential to recognize that your worth is not tied to anything external. You are worthy simply because you exist. There is nothing you need to prove, no milestone you must reach, and no person's approval you need to earn. The source of your worth is internal, rooted in the very essence of who you are. The moment you stop doubting yourself, you open the door to endless possibilities. You allow yourself to pursue your desires without hesitation, to trust in your abilities, and to embrace the opportunities that are aligned with your highest good. Building self-worth requires a shift in perception. Instead of focusing on what you lack or what you haven't yet achieved, focus on the unique qualities, strengths, and gifts that you already possess. Begin to affirm that you are enough, right here and right now. When you start to believe in your own value, you move through the world with confidence and certainty. You no longer need the approval of others because you are secure in the knowledge of your own worth. As you deepen your belief in yourself, you will notice that life begins to flow more easily. Opportunities that once seemed out of reach will present themselves, and you will have the courage to seize them. Relationships will improve as you attract people who recognize and honor your value. Success will come not because you are trying to prove something, but because you are living in alignment with the truth of who you are. Doubting your worth is a form of self-sabotage that blocks you from receiving the fullness of life. But when you choose to believe in your inherent value, everything changes. You become a magnet for abundance, love, and fulfillment. Your worth is limitless, and once you realize this, there is nothing you cannot achieve. Believing in limitations is one of the greatest obstacles to personal growth and success. These limitations are often not real, they are mental constructs, illusions that we accept as truth. When you believe in your limitations, you restrict yourself to a smaller, narrower version of life than what is truly available to you. The power of belief is profound. What you believe shapes your experience, and when you believe in limitations, you manifest a life that reflects those constraints. Most limitations are self-imposed, stemming from doubts, fears, or past experiences. You might tell yourself that you're not talented enough, not smart enough, or not deserving of more. These beliefs, often formed unconsciously over time, become the lens through which you view the world. As a result, you only see opportunities that align with your self-imposed limits, ignoring the vast possibilities that exist beyond them. This creates a cycle where your beliefs are continually reinforced by your experiences, convincing you even further that these limitations are real. One of the most common sources of limiting beliefs comes from societal conditioning. From a young age, we are told what is possible and what is not. We are taught to follow certain paths, to adhere to expectations, and to stay within the boundaries of what is considered realistic. But these boundaries are arbitrary, and they do not reflect your true potential. Society's limitations are not your own unless you choose to accept them. When you internalize these messages, you begin to doubt your own abilities and suppress your dreams, trading them for a life of mediocrity. Another source of limitations comes from fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown. These fears are natural, but they become problematic when they are allowed to control your decisions. When you believe that you are limited by your fears, you avoid taking risks or stepping outside of your comfort zone. You settle for a life that feels safe but unfulfilling, missing out on the opportunities that lie beyond those perceived limits. Yet it is only by confronting these fears and moving through them that you discover your true strength and capability. Believing in limitations also prevents you from seeing yourself as the creator of your reality. When you accept limitations, you give your power away, assuming that forces outside of you, whether circumstances, other people, or fate, determine your destiny. But in truth, you are not bound by these external factors. Your beliefs shape your experiences, and when you choose to believe in your unlimited potential, the world will reflect that back to you. Every obstacle can be overcome, every challenge can be met, and every dream can be realized when you reject the notion of limitation. To break free from the prison of limitations, you must first become aware of the beliefs that are holding you back. Start by questioning the thoughts that tell you "I can't" or "it's impossible." Ask yourself if these beliefs are really true, or if they are just assumptions you've accepted without questioning. Once you identify the limiting beliefs, you can begin to replace them with empowering ones. Instead of seeing obstacles, start seeing possibilities. Instead of focusing on what you lack, focus on what you can create. When you shift your mindset from limitation to possibility, your world expands. Living without limitations requires courage and trust. It means stepping into the unknown, daring to dream bigger, and believing that you are capable of more than you've been told. It means trusting in your ability to create your reality and knowing that the universe responds to your beliefs. When you no longer believe in limitations, you open yourself to infinite potential. Life becomes an adventure, and you begin to realize that the only limits are the ones you impose on yourself. Your true nature is limitless. When you free yourself from the belief in limitations, you step into the fullness of who you are. You can achieve far more than you've ever imagined once you believe in your own infinite potential. Seeking perfection over progress is a mindset that traps many people in a cycle of frustration and inaction. The desire for perfection, while seemingly noble, often masks deeper fears: fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being enough. When you prioritize perfection over progress, you set an impossible standard for yourself, one that can never be fully attained. This pursuit of flawlessness leads to procrastination, self-doubt, and a reluctance to take meaningful steps forward, leaving you stuck in the same place while waiting for the perfect conditions to arrive. In truth, perfection is an illusion, and the real power lies in consistent progress, however imperfect it may seem. Perfectionism is rooted in a belief that unless something is done flawlessly, it is not worth doing at all. This mindset can apply to any area of life work, relationships, personal goals, or creative pursuits. You may find yourself constantly refining, revising, or delaying action because you believe the outcome must be without error. But the more you strive for perfection, the more elusive it becomes. You become paralyzed by the fear of making mistakes, and instead of moving forward, you remain in a constant state of preparation, never feeling ready to take the next step. One of the greatest dangers of seeking perfection is that it prevents you from even starting. You convince yourself that conditions must be ideal before you can begin. You wait for more knowledge, more skill, or a better opportunity before taking action. But the perfect moment never comes. There will always be something that could be improved, something that feels just out of reach. In this way, perfectionism becomes an excuse for inaction, a shield that protects you from the discomfort of trying, failing, and learning. However, progress only happens when you are willing to take imperfect action, to embrace the messiness of growth. Progress, on the other hand, is about moving forward step by step, accepting that mistakes and imperfections are part of the journey. It requires you to let go of the need to be perfect and to instead focus on the process of learning and evolving. Progress acknowledges that mastery is not achieved overnight, but through repeated efforts, through trial and error. Each step, no matter how small or flawed, brings you closer to your goal. The more you focus on progress, the more momentum you build, and that momentum becomes the key to success. When you shift your focus from perfection to progress, you free yourself from the pressure of unrealistic expectations. You allow yourself to make mistakes, to learn from them, and to grow in the process. This shift also cultivates resilience, as you begin to see failure not as a final verdict, but as a necessary step toward improvement. By embracing progress, you build confidence, knowing that every action, no matter how imperfect, moves you closer to your desired outcome. Perfectionism also limits creativity and innovation. When you are obsessed with getting everything right, you stifle your ability to take risks and explore new ideas. You become rigid, afraid to experiment or think outside the box for fear of making mistakes. However, true creativity and breakthrough ideas often arise from trial and error, from the willingness to try something new, even if it doesn't work out perfectly. Progress requires you to step into the unknown, to take risks, and to trust that you will learn along the way. Perfection is an unreachable goal, one that will always leave you feeling inadequate and dissatisfied. Progress, however, is achievable and rewarding. It allows you to celebrate each small victory, to acknowledge your growth, and to keep moving forward. When you prioritize progress over perfection, you embrace the journey of becoming rather than the unattainable ideal of being flawless. You allow yourself to evolve, to learn, and to succeed on your own terms, free from the burden of perfectionism. In conclusion, the pursuit of perfection, the fear of failure, and the belief in limitations all hold you back from realizing your true potential. The key to personal growth and fulfillment lies in shifting your mindset from doubting your worth to recognizing your inherent value, from living reactively to consciously creating your reality, and from seeking flawlessness to embracing progress. You are not limited by external conditions or past experiences. You are only limited by the beliefs you hold. When you release these beliefs and take consistent, imperfect action, you open yourself to endless possibilities. Trust in your inner power, and remember that the journey itself is where true transformation occurs. Thank you for embracing this wisdom and stepping into the fullness of who you truly are.